Earlier in February, the American Air Force attacked an unmanned airship that appeared in the US. This was a Chinese civilian airship. After verification, China repeatedly informed the US of the civilian nature of the airship, conveyed that its entry into the US was due to a force majeure, and opposed its use of force. Yet, despite China's open and honest remarks, this airship was portrayed by the US media as a Chinese spy balloon, saying it had equipment that was clearly for intelligence surveillance, including multiple antennas that were likely capable of collecting and geolocating communications. But this is all suspected, without actual backup.
The fact that they have had weeks now to recover any information from it, and yet there's still no indication that it was doing anything wrong or was in any way really anything other than just a civilian research object, research balloon.
Despite the US media frenzy mischaracterizing an unmanned Chinese airship as a spy balloon, manufacturing a huge hysteria around Chinese spy devices, some important facts have been conveniently overlooked, and we're going to talk about them today. Welcome to Facts Tell. I'm Sina. Now, here's some essential questions about this whole balloon drama. First, the balloon was shot down by a US fighter jet when it almost left the country's airspace, after it wandered around places like Aleutian Islands and Idaho before it was spotted above Montana. According to this Washington Post article, this unmanned airship was monitored right after it was launched in Hainan. Afterward, it lost its course and took some unexpected turns. So just like what China said, it was affected by westerlies, and with limited control, it deviated from its intended course. Even the US Department of Defense said openly on February 2nd that the balloon is currently traveling at an altitude well above commercial air traffic and does not present a military or physical threat to people on the ground. But 2 days later, things changed.
So here we are, tracking this balloon from takeoff, knowing full well what it did. Now, in hindsight now, Jim, this sort of explains why we didn't shoot it down right away. We had an idea of what it was likely doing. Then we thought it was probably a little bit veered off course, so we thought we'd keep track of it. But it sounds like we knew exactly what it was and never intended to shoot it down until there was an uproar.
That certainly is one way to interpret the events, and it's hard to dispute it.
Yes, this stray balloon was shot down by brutal force ordered by US President Joe Biden right before his State of the Union address.
In D.C., the administration is getting hammered by Republicans for not shooting it down earlier, but you heard the president there speaking to reporters over the weekend. He said he wanted it shot down on Wednesday, but he took the advice of the Pentagon and some of the risks that they had outlined. But Jonathan, what we can say about the State of the Union is that this is going to be one issue the president will likely address when it comes to China.
So now we know that at that time, one of the reasons for shooting down the balloon was US President Biden's response to the pressure coming from the Republicans. And one more thing also happened one day before his decision: the train accident in Ohio. On February 3rd, a train carrying hazardous materials derailed in East Palestine, a small town in Ohio, forcing the evacuation of thousands of residents. Even after the authorities' handling of toxic chemicals, the situation still appears to be a disaster. Many people returned afterward, suffering from nausea and headaches. Dead animals can be spotted everywhere in the neighborhood, and the long-term negative effects on the health of local people are even direr.
It's not safe for anybody. People are concerned about the fact that they're still coughing, having headaches. Pets, animals, wildlife is being affected by this. I'm concerned for the long-term effects of what this could bring for anybody in the area or anybody in the radius of 30 miles that this is now affecting because of the acid rains. It's a danger to us all.
But the story had largely remained local news until the hashtag #OhioChernobyl became trending on Twitter. Meanwhile, most US mainstream media treated the Chinese spy balloon as a priority. After almost 2 weeks, with attention mounting, they finally started doing some story. While the balloon drama didn't end, it tried its best to catch people's attention. In the first 2 weeks of February, US fighter jets shot down 3 other objects flying over Alaska, the Yukon, and Lake Huron. But as US President Biden later admitted, that these three objects were only linked to private companies, recreation, or research institutions, the situation ended with a whimper. One thing quite funny is that among the three objects later shot down, one of them was believed to be a $12 hobby balloon launched by Northern Illinois Balloon Brigade, a hobbyist group in the US. Yet the United States Air Force used a Sidewinder missile worth $439,000 to shoot down this flying toy in the vicinity of the Yukon Territory in Canada. I mean, what a waste of money. And why not use this sum of money to save people in Ohio? I don't know what else is, if this is not an overreaction and a political farce. It's almost like shooting mosquitoes using anti-craft guns. Expensive? Indeed. Necessary? Depends. Of course, it's way too costly to take down some random balloons. That's an utter waste of taxpayers' money. But if it's used for covering the true extent of the Ohio train derailment, dodging the blame related to the latest investigative reports regarding Nord Stream explosions, and also conducting the mainstream media to divert public attention away from many domestic mass shootings in 2023, it's a good deal for the Biden administration. Nevertheless, it's another ridiculous and expensive political show the US orchestrated. And given the current situation, I guess there will be more similar ones to watch. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you like our show, remember to click like and subscribe. I'm Sina. I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.